You still have time to get the field goal, but it looks pretty grim there. You have any special advice to Pat right there? Do you have any words for him at that point when Buffalo took the lead for the last time?
Yeah, when it's grim, be the Grim Reaper.
You still have time to get the field goal, but it looks pretty.
Remix.
We're so close to nailing that. Too Much Dip Podcast. My name is Dave. Nothing matters. It's Monday. Feels good. KJ's here. Dylan's here. Hello, respectively.
I have to say that putting the whole world on notice that as of right now, in this very moment, effective today, post-divisional round, yours truly has accepted that it is not mathematically possible for my team to defeat the guests and
Did you run the numbers on that?
After looking at the numbers, looking deep within my own conscience as somebody who's in control of how many games there are remaining and how many points said games are worth, it's just too tall of a mountain to climb. So
what if you double down?
You know, when you say it like that, maybe I'll split, then I'll double down.
No, Dave would definitely double down.
You would double down?
I would.
Okay. Well, in that situation,
don't play by the book.
I don't know that it's going to look good for your boy.
Dylan and I still in the mix.
You have a realistic possibility. Actually, you're not separated by that much. You
4
guys,
points, I think.
Yeah, you guys are fairly close to the guess. I think it's like 10 to 12 points.
Dave's just good at his big boy stacks. He can't pick a regular game to save his life, but his big boy stacks, he's like 80%.
Y'all's is completely opposite. You're way ahead of him on regular picks.
It's really frustrating.
The game that I tripled down on, I always get. That's why they call me Triple Down Dave.
I thought it was Triple Down Teddy.
Well, that Andy Reid quote is sick. He didn't say that to Patrick Mahomes. We know that, right? He didn't.
I don't know.
The reporter prompted him. He asked a question and used grim in his question.
In your world here, did he like hand him a fortune cookie line saying, "Hey, will you just use this phrase of the day? Will you say the word grim?" People
are freaking out and like getting Grim Reaper shirts printed because they think Andy Reid was like on the sideline calling his quarterback the Grim Reaper. He just wasn't doing that.
I'm putting it on a sign over my desk at home.
Yeah, well. Anyway, Triple Down Dave over here.
Dylan, welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Do it big, Dylan. Does that work? We'll workshop it.
You call me
Candy Corn Dorn.
You call me Faded Dylan. We got that new fade over the weekend. Friday.
I think it looks good. I will stand by this statement.
I appreciate that, man. That kind of helps.
Yeah.
Everybody told you it looked fine.
It's a young man's haircut. That's my main problem.
You're in a young man's
it's a professional's haircut. I think the opposite. You're a modern man in a modern world.
No, this is like I go out to get laid haircut.
What's wrong with that?
You do. You go to June's, you go to Sammy's. You go out to eat way more than the rest of us.
Like I don't pick up chicks at the bar.
Okay.
You're scared of you don't want Bay.
My haircut says that I do.
I think Bay would like it if she was lugging around a big hunk of man meat like yourself who had that look.
Oh, she lugs. She's proud to lug this piece of meat around.
Well, all I
anything
can
else?
say,
when I sent her a picture of my new haircut, she sent me back the emoji that's like, like the teeth one, that like the white. I don't know.
That's not very supportive.
What do you call that one?
The teeth one, he said.
You know what I'm talking about? Everybody knows that one.
Kind of like the yeesh. All right, now what sound is it to you?
I can't reply
just do
without
sound.
making this. It's just.
You're gonna get horny with it, weren't you?
There was no way that I was not going to violate like the boundaries of a normal relationship here, so I'm not gonna go.
Well, that's something we don't do here. We respect all of that.
Yes. What a sports weekend, huh? How about them sports?
I was mentally exhausted last night when it all came down.
You think you were more or less emotionally affected than one, I don't know, Brett Merriman?
I almost asked Brett if he wanted to hop on and just kind of give us, but I was like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to make content out of his team's failure. Because, I mean, I was riding with Western New York, even though I picked the Chiefs correctly, -2. I wanted Buffalo to win. I was down to take the L. I was fine. I wanted Buffalo. I've made no secret about it. I ride for Western New York. Everybody knows that. And that was devastating. Straight up.
Tough one. I too was rooting for the Bills.
You love Cole Beasley.
And I tried to explore why I wanted the Bills to win. Number one, of course, the Chiefs have had some recent success. Won a Super Bowl not so long ago. That was great for them. I really like Patrick Mahomes. I really do. Fun guy to watch play.
Most people do.
However, the presence of his brother, Jackson Mahomes, is like it's just constantly in the back of my subconscious. Like, I like Patrick Mahomes less because his brother is who he is and does what he does on TikTok and sprays drinks or pours water on fans, and I can't.
Well, his wife sprays champagne on fans.
His
It
wife,
didn't even look like
his
champagne.
wife affects me to a lesser degree than his brother does, but it's a factor as well.
I feel like
I hate to say it.
I've got to let the world know that I have to take my position as a Team Jackson. I am Team Jackson Mahomes as of today.
Why?
Oh, wow.
I'm
look at
owning
this
up
guy.
to statements that I made in a group text this morning. True or false? I've declared this morning that I am Team Jackson Mahomes. I will not provide reasons.
No, yeah. The reasoning here
is a little grim, if you will. But,
well, you know what they say.
You know, I just want a positive outcome for that young man and his life. If
there's something I don't know,
I just don't want to. I don't want to be a part of the.
Here's the
bullying
thing.
machine. I feel like the man's getting toasted online regularly and rightfully.
Well,
but I don't want to see how
here's the problem
plays out.
What he does outside of the water thing, which I don't really know the story. Maybe the guys are. I don't know.
Yeah.
What he does is utterly harmless. Doing TikTok dances, generally speaking, is harmless.
Mm-hmm.
But there's just something about a TikTok dance. When your brother's borderline like modern day goated.
Yeah.
People are saying he's modern day goat. Not me, but some have.
What would we have given to have like a Brett Favre sibling as a Jackson Mahomes? Like,
we got a Brett Favre appendage.
That is true. That's true. But like,
his penis still.
If we had like a Duck Dynasty, you know, what if Larry the Cable Guy was Brett Favre's brother?
Okay.
And we had to deal with that during all of the Super Bowls. That Larry was just out there grinding. Like, granted, he was successful in his time, more so than Jackson, but still.
It's easier, like, if we're not Chiefs fans, but like you're watching greatness unfold and you're like, dude, this is transcending sports. I'm watching this. I'm going to watch every Chiefs game I can just to watch this. You don't want a TikTok distraction or spray in the crowd. It bothers people, and it shouldn't, but it does.
They just seem very. I mean, it's beyond like coattail status. With I'm not going to include her in this.
I feel like she's a bigger violation than he is.
Okay.
I feel like she's borderline Russell Wilson first wife during draft day.
By the way,
overly open mouth.
Like, we know exactly who we're thinking of.
That's one of the best photos in sports.
The SIG upgrade that Russell Wilson went through
all-timer.
from that girl who no one knows her name, by the way, to Ciara. It's like, what? Holy shit.
Did she get a bag?
I'm sure she got paid of some degree, but didn't RG3 also is 2-time back-to-back world champion in this category too.
Talk about let me upgrade. Dave.
But as we know, his second wife, you know, has what would traditionally be thought of as, you know, black women features. So he also potentially upgraded. These are his words, not mine.
These are his words.
I don't know. Back to the story here. I feel like
she was
current Mahomes' wife. I don't know. Have they been married yet, or are they just engaged?
I think they're married. They got a kid.
Oh yeah, they got married. Over
they have
the
a
last
beautiful baby.
I
love all the beautiful babies out there.
Yeah.
There's just so much runway for this to just not end pretty.
Dylan, you look really put off. What's wrong?
I'm just thinking about Jackson Mahomes, man. He bothers me, man. And the whole, like, you see how he got roasted for like trying to skewer that restaurant that he went to, and they wouldn't seat him because they were booked.
Great.
They wouldn't make like an exception for him. So
Thank you for bringing that
on
up.
social media, and they just absolutely roasted him back.
I thought he might lay low after that.
It's
but he didn't.
It's like born on third, and acting like you hit a triple.
Well, it's not like his dad was also like successful at a professional level.
How did they end
what I
up
mean
in
is he's done nothing to
White House-
accomplish
White
his
House,
notoriety.
Texas.
Yeah, I agree. It's I'm saying he's 2-time coattails, if nothing else. Like,
Yeah.
I would say my only true position in which I am defending Jackson Holmes at all is that I feel like there's a line, like he was trending yesterday shortly after the game. And the big theme on
Still
Twitter,
trending.
the big theme on Twitter was, I'm upset that I have to see another week of this person, blah, blah, blah. But
Maybe that's
there's a very big portion of the mentions or statements with his name in it that are very, what I would say are far beyond the line.
You're telling me that people on Twitter are going a little overboard?
Yeah, I'm saying it's beyond being like, hey, I hate that this guy does this. I don't want to see this guy anymore. It's more of like, you get a lot of unnecessary homophobic slurs. You get a lot of other unnecessary aggressive things where I'm like, hey, I was with y'all until, I don't want to be with y'all. And that's kind of where I'm at.
That's huge.
I stand as an ally.
That game was good too.
Yeah, I'll stop it.
No, it's okay.
Well,
It says here on the outline, Bills at Chiefs, banger.
as I promised it to be.
An absolute banger.
At least we all picked the over.
A banger for sure.
We didn't. We all thought under.
I don't even go by what
I
I
don't
picked
know.
as our
Like, did I?
position.
We were
anymore.
fading, maybe.
Yeah.
That's our only excuse.
Oh, yeah, that is why.
Because you know why? Because games like rarely live up to like, oh yeah, I'm sure it's going to be a shootout. You think it's going to be a shootout, then it's like 17-10.
That was what my gut feeling on this game was. We're going to have an ugly CBS Sunday afternoon game that sucked the life out of me. We got everything but. Like, that's what the Bengals Titans could have been characterized as, but this wasn't that. Where do you stand on Josh Allen after this game and this year?
He's an absolute stud.
Would you trade Dak for Josh Allen today?
Yes.
I guess Dak,
Okay.
no injuries.
Yes.
No injury Dak.
Yes. And I love Dak. But yes,
Dude, Josh Allen,
he's a star.
he does what Dak used to do in that he will run the ball, except for he's bigger than Dak, more physical. Granted, it does open him up to injury potentially, but he trucks dudes. He absolutely, like, I was getting, I don't know if this is a bad comp, but I was getting like early Cam Newton, like Cam at Auburn vibes.
He deserved to win that game. He really did. That was unbelievable. What's the receiver's name?
Gabriel Davis.
Oh my gosh, who is
second
that guy?
year
First
out of
all?
UCF.
He absolutely went off.
Oh, he's a
4
UCF
touchdowns.
kid.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
4th round pick, I believe.
He put that move on the cornerback for KC and just dropped on 4th down, no less.
That's as bad as of an ankle break as you'll see
It's like 4th
in
and 13.
pro football.
Like, he might have had 2 or 3 wide open 4th down or 3rd down, just like, holy shit, they got to have it. Kind of like the Herbert. That's what this game reminded me of. Somebody said it online, probably like Mina Kimes or something. But this reminded me a lot of watching that Raiders-Chargers game, where at the end of it, you're like, I know that Herbert now has to go home and not, does not continue to get to play, but I feel like we're all losing out on not getting to see him play another game. Same thing with Josh Allen here, which
That's year 3 for Josh Allen, right?
year 3, I believe.
I mean,
And they're not losing any big parts that I'm aware of. Not
think-
like I'm dialed in, but
do you think Beasley will retire to just go back into the booth and record some really good albums?
Just drop bars on our faces? Maybe.
I think there's a good chance that that's where if they have losses, it's very good that they have Gabriel Davis step up, because you got a wide receiver room with Stephon Diggs. Emmanuel Sanders was an offseason signing for 1 year, but I mean, the guy's got 2 Pro Bowls and very, very well decorated record. In fact, had they advanced to the Super Bowl, it would have been the 4th different team Emmanuel would have been on and gone to a Super Bowl, which would have been approaching a record.
No,
And then Beasley might be gone too. So
I
don't know.
feel the worst, I think, for Stephon Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
That dude wears losses, I think, poorly, like more poorly than anybody else. Like he deserves to win. He's a hell of a receiver. I think his time is kind of running out. Like, his prime is definitely probably in the rearview mirror.
How old is he?
I'm sorry, go ahead.
And he just deserves to win. And like, you saw what happened to him. I guess it was last year when the Chiefs beat Buffalo, and he kind of just stared and watched them celebrate for like 5 minutes as his team had gone to the locker room. He wears this shit.
Who's older, Amari Cooper or Stephon Diggs?
Stephon Diggs.
By 1 year. 28.
63 days, I'm seeing here. Diggs has 1 more year left on his agreement. His dead cap stays the same, so he'll be back. Beasley's contract is up. Emmanuel, I believe, was on a 1-year deal, so at least those two will likely be.
Can
elsewhere.
I play GM? Can I throw out a name coming off of surgery? Michael Gallup, free agent. Cowboys probably don't re-sign him. I think he would feed. He would absolutely feed in Buffalo. But getting people to want to go to Buffalo, that's a thing.
Yeah.
Not me. People know I ride for Western New York,
There's
but some
still
people.
an all-time great ESPN pregame special about Marshawn Lynch spending all his time in Buffalo at like Dave and Buster's and like one bar that he didn't drink at. He just ordered like wings there or something and then went and played DDR at game Dave and Buster's.
I love that.
They're like, yeah, this is all he does in Buffalo. Just like hang out.
That's what you just go check out Niagara Falls. You ever seen him?
So. That's where I wanted to get engaged.
Can we talk about the last 13 seconds of the game?
Please do.
So, yeah, obviously.
Why didn't Dak slide sooner?
Buffalo goes up, different game. No timeouts, by the way. So, Buffalo goes up by 3, 13 seconds left. They're kicking off to KC. I think Buffalo made a couple mistakes here. Got a squib kick.
Mm-hmm.
You got a squib kick. Even a good return, it's gonna take 6 seconds to do that. Don't really understand that one. It's all about just getting those seconds off the clock. Secondly, the defense they played was very questionable. That Kelsey reception, wide open. They left the middle of the field completely vulnerable, and with 3 timeouts, I think, at that point. What's the point of that?
They played the defense, and I want to say Atlanta, whenever they famously gave up their lead to the Patriots in the Super Bowl, played a similar defense that is only meant to protect your defense from letting the offense get out of bounds if they don't have timeouts. But they had timeouts, as you're bringing up. I don't know. And the Bills are about as well coached defensively as you can find in the league. They were the number 1 defense in the league. Leslie Frazier is very well respected as a defensive-minded coach. Sean McDermott is very well respected. So they know better. There were a few different moments at the end of this game from a secondary perspective, and then we can get to the Bucs later. It just shows you, when bullets are flying at the end of a game, at the end of the season, when everything is on the line,
high pressure, chaotic.
It is just
it's hard to
easy to let that wobble a little bit, and shit flies.
And I got to credit to, I think Rex Ryan. I was watching something this morning. Rex Ryan pointed out that they were rushing 4. Buffalo was, when that was not the move. You got to drop as many guys back and coverage as possible, and kind of just force Mahomes to sit back, try to find somebody open, and just kill time.
Yeah, or bait him into maybe trying to go for, pull a Dak. He would have had timeout, but to run for that yardage. But then it's a lot harder for your team, as we've seen, to regroup when your quarterback is ahead of the line and all of those things. So, yeah, there's a lot of other outcomes that could have occurred. Even then, for the Chiefs to get it to overtime, I don't know that before the ball snapped that anyone was like, okay, this is going to end on this series. Did you think that was going to be the case? Like when they were like, once the Chiefs are getting the ball, you're like, okay, well, game over. Or did you think, okay, we were getting more of this? Great.
You talking about the first possession of overtime?
Like before it started.
It did feel over to me.
It felt... It had, I didn't feel good about it as a guy rooting for Buffalo.
The way the fourth quarter ended, it was, I don't know how many points were scored in the last several minutes of the game, but it was unbelievable. I mean, there was just no defense being played. Defenses were just gassed. It really felt like whoever won the coin toss was going to win the game. Of course, that's a big topic today, is the overtime rules in the NFL, and people are unhappy with it, but.
Well, I saw a quote from notable NFL insider Adam Schefter that mentioned that all 4 games this weekend ended on the final play.
That's crazy. Has that ever happened?
I don't know. Every day.
All 4, Dylan.
Every day last week ended at midnight. People don't think of it like that either.
Is that true? Can you look that up?
I legitimately laughed out loud when I saw your reply.
Man, leave him alone. Didn't he tear his ACL doing the jerk dance or something? What was he doing?
The gritty.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In support of defunct.
It really
Texas
was the
power chooser. Gritty. Very niche. 2-minute warning. The score is 26-21. It ended 42-36. Wow. Also of note, going into that game, and this was also on Twitter, quite a few places, Josh Allen was 9-0 when he had the opportunity to call the coin toss going into this game. He called the coin toss at the start of the game, lost it, called the coin toss at the start of overtime and lost it too. So, regression to mean on a 50-50 proposition. Man. Started at the wrong time.
I thought he was the outlier.
Thought he was doubling down too.
Yep. There can only be one. Like Highlander.
How do you feel about overtime rules in the NFL, KJ?
I think for the playoffs, it would make a lot more sense just to say the other team also gets a possession. You do have to allow defense to matter. So I'm a little torn. But I feel like I think it would just be as simple as both teams get an opportunity to possess the ball during playoffs. During the season, you can't do this bullshit with like 18 games, like carrying on a game for another series and even more people getting hurt. But during the playoffs, I think that it would be very, very easy to say both teams get an opportunity to possess the football. If, both score touchdown, obviously it's sudden death from there on out, but as opposed to field goals only or the thing that give you a chance.
Haven't thought this through, but would throwing on a have to go for two component to it make it more feasible? Both, so you go down, I don't need to explain it, but because I know they can't do it for reasons you just laid out, but I don't hate the college overtime system.
Well, I hate the new one. I didn't hate the old one, but I understand like you can't physically ask people to do.
How many did 14, we get A&M LSU? Like
13
9?
or 14 or something like that. Or maybe I'm thinking high school and they got 9 in that one. It was crazy.
Something sick.
I like college. The reason I don't love it is because of the kicker becomes too important. Like, obviously, you want to score a touchdown. You're already in a field goal range, though.
Got it. I see what you're saying. Yeah, because they can continue series by just kicking field goals. I
hate the game coming down to a guy that's been on the bench the whole game and like grew up playing soccer. I know that sounds
no. I see what you're saying.
Football guy,
because you don't have to score touchdowns in college. You can just kick field goals back and forth. That's a good point.
Someone said they should do 3-on-3 like the NHL. Which I don't know how that would work logistically. Now, you want to go 7-on-7, which is something that I imagine most players grow up playing.
Somebody has communicated or mentioned that as a bit for college, like they could do just 7-on-7 at the end of the game. And I'm like,
I'm tuning in for that.
I would watch it. More importantly, I would say that they have to go with no shoulder pads for that period. Like it's no longer tackle. It's just 7-on-7. I just want to see it for the hilarity of like watching them change over into like taking their shoulder pads off, putting on whatever warm-up they have ready for 7-on-7, and then running that whole play.
I think we fixed it.
Hey, come to us for more ideas. How about is Aaron Rodgers gone from Green Bay?
Absolutely.
It did kind of sound like a farewell press conference.
I didn't hear the press conference, so I missed that part.
It was somber, which, okay, he lost a game dramatically. But he did like the whole thank the fans.
He also brought up expiring contracts of his teammates.
He doesn't want to be there for a rebuild.
Mm-hmm.
Who's free? Main one, Devontae's free, right?
He's going to be re-signed though. I mean, they'll franchise him. There's no like situation which he's a top 3 receiver. Like he's not going anywhere.
They can franchise him.
He mentioned a few guys by name. He mentioned Alan Lazard by name.
I mean,
okay. Tonyan.
Robert Tonyan, lineman.
What I love about Aaron Rodgers is that he rides for his guys like he did for Randall Cobb. I think that says a lot about somebody, but that doesn't make a good GM. That you don't think you can bring in somebody that can have the production that Lazard did?
Like, yeah, I would have taken Emmanuel Sanders, as we were talking about earlier, or Michael Gallup, like any of these other tier 2 wide receivers out there instead of a Lazard or Valdez Scantling over the last couple of years. I'm just checking real quick. Like the problem I have with Aaron Rodgers complaining so much about like how they build their team and who they pay and who they don't pay is it's not as if they don't max out their salary cap like every other team in the NFL. Like it's not like they're cheap. Yeah, they've got negative $40 million in cap space. Like, they're terrible when it comes to cap liability right now. Like they are paying as many players as they can. Top paid players on the team. Aaron Rodgers, $46 million. So Darius Smith on defense, that hurt them big time because he didn't play half this season. David Bakhtiari, Preston Smith. So yeah, they're paying their players. A lot of them are on defense right now. A lot of them, like the top 10, I would say 8 of them. Jordan Love checking in at number 12.
Credit to the defense because Green Bay's defense did literally like everything they could.
Kept them in that game.
I did not know that the special teams issues were a season ongoing thing with Green Bay. I guess I don't pay enough attention.
I knew that what is his name?
Crosby?
Mason Crosby, former Colorado Buffalo, had struggled this year. So I knew about that. I did not know about field goals and extra points stuff getting blocked.
Did they really have 10 men on the field on the last field goal, the game winning? Was that? I saw that.
I hope so.
And
wait, the people are saying Niners did or the Packers did?
The Packers.
I don't know. I missed that.
They were pointing out like all of their special teams miscues.
Oh my gosh.
By the way, Alan Lazard, 513 reception yards this year, which, okay, he's not expected to be the number one. I'm just saying.
Also on this game, we were talking a little bit earlier about, I think it was Brett and I actually, about Garoppolo. And then we talked about his line. We said he was 11 for 19, no touchdowns, a pick.
Tough conditions.
130 yards.
130 yards. Rodgers had 220 yards, no touchdowns. I don't think he had any picks, though. Yeah, 225, no touchdowns, no picks. There were 2 glaring clear as day drops in the first or second. I think it was first quarter. One was on George Kittle, where it's very rare for George Kittle to drop the ball. So, like, it was overlooked, but that still goes to stat book as an incompletion. And it was like a 30-yard pass. And then the very next play after that, I don't know who, number 19, I probably could look it up. En route, Garoppolo puts it right where he turns.
19 is Debo.
Maybe it wasn't Debo then. It was one of their other receivers. Right in his hands, and he just drops it. Again, conditions, everything was bad, but he had 2 glaring drops. It would have been a good 50 yards. And then they had the interception, maybe the next pass on the next series, but it was right off the hands. It was thrown a little bit behind the guy, but off the hands of one of his receivers, deflected, and then picked off. I'm not here to say Garoppolo's good, but I will say that there's a reason they've been able to manage themselves into a position to be in like 2 Super Bowls in 3 years. There's a reason like that he's, at least staying on the field.
He does what the scheme calls for. In their scheme, they maximize their skill players in a way that, like, comparing them to the Cowboys, like, we don't get the ball to them. We don't know how to adjust to only a 4-man front or whatever. So it makes me be like, yeah, maybe we can get to a Super Bowl with Dak. If I'm watching, Jimmy G do this, he's already been to a Super Bowl.
I thought Kellen Moore was a schemester. Like,
I think he's showing his youth a little bit.
He's got Cedric Wilson as like his scheme piece. I feel like, and that he gets credit for that, but not for the other parts. I don't know. I would say Jimmy G is not the person I would build my franchise around if I was starting today, but he's a lot better than 15 other quarterbacks in the NFL right now.
To confirm, the Packers did only have 10 men on the field on the final field goal.
Yikes.
That is just absolutely inexcusable.
That's so bad.
Is there a special teams coach out of a job yet?
It's a matter of time.
Right.
I don't know. It sucks to be in Green Bay because of the amount of pressure that Aaron Rodgers and attention he brought upon himself and then therefore your team. But like the team winning did away with all that. Got in the MVP race. Like everybody's like, oh, well, Aaron's talking all that shit, but he's backing it up. And now it's like, okay, now we all look like assholes. Even if they're just shitting on Aaron Rodgers, it's like your whole team has to deal with this now.
Yeah, I think Twitter was ready for an Aaron Rodgers L.
Yeah, there was some heat out there.
There's a lot of heat. A lot of it I don't think is justified. Some of it, let me give you the tweet that I saw, the top 10 Aaron Rodgers nicknames. We did not give him these nicknames. Let's be clear.
How are these going to go?
Kurt D. Wormer. Of course, a reference to Kurt Warner.
Okay.
This one's a stretch. Karen Rodgers, spelled Quaaron.
I like that one.
Tuck Rule Carlson. Okay.
So what are the implications here?
Because obviously he had the very famous interview with Pat McAfee where he had COVID and he wasn't abiding by the protocols, and then he isn't vaccinated and it's been outspoken. Oni Romo, Oany. Of course, a reference to One America Network.
Okay.
QB Giuliani.
Yeah.
That's a stretch. Breitbart Star.
I like that. It's Green Bay fitting.
Prager Unitas. Fill me in. What is that?
Prager U is a
yeah, okay. Thank you.
indoctrination. No, it's a super PAC.
Last three.
Youth. Charlie Kirk outlet, I think.
Throw Rogan is the popular one.
Yep.
Rush Lambeau.
Okay. If anything, somebody could use that as a positive nickname for their defense.
Number one, unfair, I think, unless there's a story out there that I've completely missed. Clan Marino, of course.
Oh, that's
not fair.
That's unfair.
I did see someone on my timeline say Ian Randall Cunningham.
Okay, that's a good
Because
one
he had
too.
the Ayn Rand book on his shelf, and
Dude.
he only had it up there. He's like, "There's no way I could have finished this. People just get mad if I have it up there." So I'm like, anybody who tries to bait trolls or bait trolling deserves all that they get, whether or not I agree with any of it. Like, you brought it on yourself.
Yeah. Can I say this has
Except
nothing
for
to
Jackson
do?
Mahomes.
This has nothing to do with the weekend, but Randall Cunningham was so sick when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Dude, I feel like he's not.
Why are you laughing?
I just didn't expect this detour.
When you mentioned Randall Cunningham, I was just thinking about like how much I feared him as like a child Cowboy fan.
He's what I thought VY was gonna be, man.
VY was
In the NFL.
Jeff Fisher ruined VY. We can blame him. Not VY's fault. Even I'll ride for VY.
I can't disagree too much there, but 7-9 bullshit is 7-9 bullshit. Were there others?
No, that's it. I think we covered it.
On to the Bengals and Titans. Titans the number 1 seed, as were the Packers. I guess last week we should have also noted, 3 home teams won, 1 road team won, 3-1. Only home team not to win was Cowboys. This week, all of the road teams won, except for Buffalo at the end of the week. So, for whatever that's worth. Started off the weekend with an ugly game.
Yeah, this was the least noteworthy of the games of the weekend. But of course it did end on the final play. So that was an exciting piece to the conclusion of this one. Yeah, Burrow got sacked 9 times. Still got the dub. Not a huge game from him. What happened in this game?
Dude, it's so overshadowed and I watched every minute of this game that I can barely recall.
Yeah.
I just recall Burrow running for his life.
Can you help me out with some volume over there? I think I've got a good recap here. Let me see. We don't talk about Burrow, no. We don't talk about Burrow. He was at LSU, lose to UCF. Then he got hurt and then came back to win. Won a Heisman and I forgot the rest of my words.
So uncomfortable.
We don't talk about Burrow, no. We don't talk about Burrow. All right, we can turn it on.
No.
There's not a verse 2. There's a verse where it goes on to talk about his Heisman and his recovery, and then now he's a game away from the Super Bowl.
I need to take a walk.
When did he lose to
that's on the
UCF?
Deluxe album. No, they came back and won. UCF knocked him out in a game, talked shit when they were losing, or UCF was winning. Talked shit to Joe Burrow. He hopped up,
Talk shit,
bloody
get hit.
mouth.
That's what I say.
LSU came back to win the game, and never lost another college football game since that moment.
I am all for singing bits, especially when you're seated next to Dylan and he has nowhere to go.
Is this how people feel when I sing?
Yes.
I just should have written down the
is.
words. Is all I feel like.
No, but there was actually a little bit of pitch in there. It was not bad.
Well, here's the issue. I should have kept the volume up.
I hope the music wasn't too loud.
No, you're good. There's some very key elements to get the song started. I should have been looking for. Anyhow, yeah.
Adam was furiously writing down the timestamp.
I've told the people a couple weeks ago, I'm coming around on Joe Burrow. The man is about his business. He absolutely got wrecked. But I don't know of another quarterback that would have hung in there. Like,
I'm never gonna look at you the same way again after that display.
where do we stand? I have one other good point about the Titans. The equivalency to the Brooklyn Nets, that they have A.J. Brown. They've got Julio Jones. They've got Derrick Henry, whatever you want to call Ryan Tannehill, which, people are saying he's not that guy today. But they didn't get to play together all season. Like, I think they're a good enough team. They'll be back in this situation, but disappointed. Where do you stand on Mike Vrabel as a head coach? Or your faith in him? And Vrabel.
Still like Vrabel.
I'm in on Vrabel.
I'm in on Vrabel's like sideline look.
Can y'all do 2 minutes of Vrabel while I run to the gents room?
Classic Dave.
He's going to go get in a group text and tell people what just happened in here.
KJ,
It's copyright info until we publish.
did you rehearse that number?
I spent 3 hours on the road just retiming it and then found the instrumental.
I'm somewhat tone deaf when it comes to music. What song is that?
It's from
Where'd you
the
pull that
current hit
instrumental?
Disney movie Encanto.
Okay.
We Don't Talk About Bruno is the current hit.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Yes, there you go. Yep. We absolutely do not. Great movie, by the way. That's what Will and I were
I
talking
haven't
about.
seen that one yet.
My point on Vrabel is his sideline face always looks like the face of a guy who like planned to break up with a girl like over a meal, maybe brunch or not dinner, but then like gets out to the valet stand and realizes like they drove together and she took the car or she drove. So he's got to like wait on a car. Like he always just looks like slightly inconvenienced, which is surprising because Vrabel seems like a real meathead and he doesn't lose his shit on the sideline as much as I would think he would.
Okay.
So next time you see a Mike Vrabel sideline shot, be like, man, did that guy just realize, person who hopped off the elevator might have farted before he walked into it?
Right,
like,
right.
That's his face at all times.
I didn't watch a ton of this game.
I don't blame you. It wasn't a good one.
How did Derrick Henry perform in his
He looked normal.
first game back?
He looked normal. They gave him the ball a ton. I think the Bengals focused on him. They really only got gashed by the fact that they gave up like 2 big shots to A.J. Brown, but they kept him out of the end zone.
I saw former Longhorn great Dante Foreman put together a nice run at some point.
He found himself an opportunity. I think that's somebody who might end up with an ability to get signed somewhere else. Dante with an A, Foreman. Notable for, didn't he like go to the draft early?
He was drafted early, and
Because a kid or something, like
people
he came out a little earlier than he should have or something?
yeah,
Look
I
at
don't
y'all doing
remember.
sports.
Dante Foreman is who we're speaking of.
I washed my hands next to a guy who also had a mustache, a younger guy, and it was just kind of like
is it like the Jeep Wave?
it felt. I
it
like
like-
looked down because I was like, it
Did
was
you give
so
him
awkward.
a little tip of the cap.
No,
Oh.
I should have. I kind of left him hanging.
I guess I forgot he's only 2 years in. But yeah, he's an undrafted free agent. So yeah, 1 year deal.
Is he a
And,
Texas guy?
He is. a
That's
Texas
right.
guy.
He was
Sure
undrafted.
did.
No,
I thought the Texans drafted.
Oh, no.
him.
unrestricted.
Unrestricted free
Okay.
agent. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he was like a
Next year.
second round pick.
Round 3, 89 overall.
Okay.
But yeah,
To whom?
so that would be
Texans, I
right
wanna
at the
say?
beginning
I
of the
was the
third.
Texans.
Houston?
Great.
Right at the beginning of the third.
Great.
Okay.
The very well run Houston Texans organization.
Sure.
You want to hit Rams Bucks or
Can I hit
Pause.
something right
There we
before
go.
then? Our friends at DraftKings,
Is it
ladies
the
and
Quan?
gentlemen.
Oh, you're doing it.
It's not the Quan. It's not the Gritty. It's not the Jerk. 4 teams remain in the NFL playoffs. 4 teams. That means only 4 teams left for you to bet on at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Counting down to Super Bowl 56, new customers can get 56-1 odds on any team. Bet just $5 and get $280 in free bets if your team wins. Not a new customer? You can experience the conference championships with same game parlays. Combine multiple bets from the same game for a bigger payout. The more legs you add, the more money you can win. DraftKings is safe, secure, and reliable. Best of all, you can deposit and withdraw your cash whenever you want. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code WASHED and get 56-1 odds on any NFL team. Bet just $5 and win $280 in free bets if your team wins. That's promo code WASHED for 56-1 odds at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Must be 21 or older. New Jersey, Indiana, or Pennsylvania only. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit and $1 wager required. 1 per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Thank you, David.
Not going to compliment that? I think that was pretty close to a perfect game, but
You nailed
It was
it.
really good, but on the heels of Will's read earlier, which is was a Hall of Fame read. Yours is just seemingly pretty mundane.
I think if you were to compare the two, you would think mine. I think mine had a little bit more emphasis.
he was absolutely in his bag on that one.
I would say, as somebody who's mentally
Disagree.
and emotionally preparing for the Olympics, both of you have scored 9.9s.
Thank you.
Sheesh.
Now, Rams at Bucs. Do we want to talk Stafford and Cooper Kupp, or do we want to talk Tom Brady?
I don't think people are talking about Cooper Kupp enough.
He's doing the Emmanuel Acho right now.
Just nobody's talking about Cooper Kupp. And it's just like, dude,
Most underrated receiver in the NFL. We don't respect him enough.
does he go out of his way to have really bad
suck?
tweets? It's not even that
Dude,
egregious, but it's just like, dude,
he's an absolute boner.
Cooper Kupp is talked about so much on these games.
He almost broke like every receiving record there was this year.
Mhm.
Like people have been talking about him all season long.
Was that Alan Chris doing that game?
Let's see. This was NBC, a random like NBC Sunday afternoon game. So yeah, Chris Collinsworth couldn't stop saying Triple Crown. Now here's a guy who he comes into the season thinking he's going to be playing next to Robert Woods. They bring in OBJ, and he still catches 175 balls. Now that's just dedication, hard work. That might have been exactly what he said.
He is sick.
Today I learned I
It's-
didn't
it's
have a
awesome.
Chris Collinsworth impression.
Yeah,
I'll work on that.
I don't claim to have one, but
His son's really
Now,
good.
here's
though.
a guy.
fuck.
That wasn't bad.
That wasn't good.
I mean, it wasn't worse than us. His son is way too like happy to be there.
Chris
Like he looks
Collinsworth.
like he's having too much fun, and I'm like, hey man, why don't you simmer down with the fun? Sorry, that is nothing. That's not important.
Simmered down with the fun.
Which I would normally never say, but it's just like, dude, come on, your dad's on the broadcast.
It's weird watching a game with Aaron Donald and Ndamukong Suh. Obviously, they played together for at least a year or two, but it's weird watching a game on opposing teams because, like, I feel like both of them are definitely a little extra something, at the end of a play for a quarterback. And the whole time I'm watching these games, like, I'm not watching, okay, what routes are going on. I'm like, oh, are Sue or Vita Vea, for that matter, or Von Miller or Aaron Donald, like, how are they going to fuck this play up? Like, that entire game was completely affected by a defensive line in a way that, like,
Aaron Donald
is wild to see.
is the one defensive lineman who I make a point of watching during a regular play.
Mhm. Warren Sapp used to be that for me, where I would just sit there and dial in and be like, oh, I wonder if he's going to
Yeah,
check the snap count and fucked up this play.
I was watching that game with Bay actually, and I was like, watch 99. She follows football casually. I was like, watch 99. He's the best player in the world. Watch what he does. And he was just wrecking play after play after play. Dude's an absolute animal.
Is it just me, or do either of y'all just randomly Google Aaron Donald shirtless?
I've seen the pics, but I don't routinely Google it. No. To be 300 pounds and have a six-pack, like he's what, like 5'11"? Like he's not a big dude.
I think they'll probably call him
Height-wise.
6 foot or whatever, but the guy's a fucking freak. So is DK Metcalf for that matter. But hey, I'm just saying,
Just saying.
I wouldn't make it out of that copy room alive.
Okay. What does that mean though?
We would have
Adam,
to
what does that mean?
need more reams of paper.
How tall is Aaron Donald? 6'1" he's listed at.
6'1", yeah,
He's
6
not
foot.
6'1". He's a short fella.
I don't think he's
For
short.
the position.
Okay.
There was a
Not-
Hard
not-
Knocks clip the first season that they were on Hard Knocks when I think Fisher's year, and he's like playing some kid in table tennis, ping pong, whatever you want to call it, because they were in a dorm room or whatever is where their camp was being held. And I'm just like, if you're just some nerd who was in school, staying on campus during the summer, and Aaron Donald's there, and he's like, hey, play me in table tennis. I'd be like, yes, sir, whatever you ask, sir. And I hope that kid made it out alive. Brady, can we talk about that a little bit?
Mm-hmm.
Did you see the penalty that Brady called for and then cussed out a ref?
Yeah, Hockley's son, right?
Yes.
Which, come on.
Hockley's son is as a ref?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, jeez. Is he jacked too? Did he take steroids too?
He's big. He's not in bad shape.
Yeah. He ain't throbbing, but he's cut.
No. Throb game weak.
I need my refs throbbing or else I'm out.
I want to see some veins. I want to see some beautifully throbbing arms.
Yeah.
From my refs, not from my friends, KJ.
Fair. I'm wearing
Yeah, I appreciate you
the
covering up
one
today.
thing Lulu would try to paint on me. This is what you get. I have to wear as a cardigan. I'm at the point where like I've kind of gone the full arc with Brady. Okay, don't believe in him, annoyed by seeing him. Okay, kind of hate the guy, to like, how do you hate this greatness? To like right now, I'm like, he lost yesterday. I'm like, all right, good. You know, if he retired tomorrow, I wouldn't be like, oh my gosh, we've lost so much. Like, we're not going to be able to move on. I'm like, all right, man.
I swear I told myself like he's done 2 Super Bowls ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like the dude just keeps going. It's really wild. I've gotten to the point with Brady. I've never loved Brady. I'm not a Tom Brady guy, but it is cool that we have gotten to witness his career. Like we're like the perfect age for like watching a guy like that do his thing. So that's been fun. I got to say, I watched him play in the Super Bowl, losing effort live, but that was fun for me. Just I want to see. I kind of want to see greatness and how far he can take it. You know.
And I think he's taken it very, very, very far. Because last season was absurd. But no, I used to hate. I didn't hate the guy, but I didn't like him. It was just the Patriots thing. I was like, oh, okay, whatever. Didn't really care one way or the other. But then when he went to Tampa, I started following him on Graham. I was like, okay, his Graham content's not terrible.
He's self-aware, I think.
He's become more self-aware. Now, he does have a lot of, like, psychopath vibes, but so does Tiger.
Which reminds me, there was something I forgot to mention in the Green Bay game, because Tom Brady reminds me a lot of Alex Rodriguez. A lot. Like, not as talkative and prominent, but obviously we haven't seen what post-career Tom Brady looks like if he's in the media as much. But did y'all see Alex Rodriguez in the crowd?
Do we know who he was with?
I don't know, but
Did not see that.
I applaud the man.
You had a
for being
baddie?
a-
Shorty
It
a
was just
baddie?
Gorgeous woman. Maybe
She was
a
very
professional.
beautiful to me.
She looked like a smart, intelligent, powerful woman.
Man, those
What?
good-looking former very rich athletes, they just get all the luck.
But they were like out in the elements, not like in a suite or anything like that. Fully in the mix at Lambeau. And I'm like, respect.
Good for
Even if
him.
it's like a bucket list thing who's just there for a quarter, I'm like, you know, whatever. Good for him.
She has been identified, and I'm not going to name
no
her.
way. I learned the internet
But-
could do that. Like when I Googled, like, who's the lady in a Wendy's commercial like 10 years ago. And I was like, oh, Google's on top of their shit.
Oh, she's a Dallas young lady.
Is Shorty a baddie?
Oh. If this is her,
She ever been to West Town?
she is a fitness pageant person. I'm going to post a photo into the group, a link, excuse me, not the photo. Y'all can click that and just see what the Avi does for y'all, if anything.
All right.
But anyway, not important. We need to get back to sports. That's what people tune in for. They
Well-
want our real-time sports analysis, and I'm buying you time to check out the link. But that's what you're going to get here at the Too Much Dip podcast. Hey,
We would be remiss if we did not acknowledge Matt Stafford with his second playoff victory of his career.
speaking of Dallas,
Speaking of Dallas, Highland Park specifically. And the fact that Cool Adam is wearing a Matt Stafford jersey to celebrate this victory. So,
So-
respect to all those who've suffered in the Detroit Lions fandom.
so he's not one of the Lions fans that is rooting against Stafford. Those people do exist.
I feel like Will picked the Cowboys and Alabama this year. Didn't work out for either of them. Seems to have worked
Weird.
out quite okay for the Rams, who he was going for last year.
Let me say, going forward, best case scenario for me as a fan, Super Bowl wise, is Bengals Rams.
Okay.
Why's that?
Because I really like Burrow. I'm not saying copy room material, but I like the guy. And I like the Rams. The Rams have so many storylines. Stafford, OBJ. It's funny because like after one game, when they made that trade, people were like, I don't know if this is gonna work. Like Troy was pretty outspoken, being like, I don't know if this is gonna fit. And now he's not Robert Woods, but it's fitting. And that's my take.
Second thought, cold weather might have added some points. I'm excited for Matt Stafford to have this opportunity. I would be in a weird position, like where we would all have to start talking more positively about Garoppolo and Kyle Shanahan if they're like in 2 out of 3 Super Bowls, and Shanahan being in like 3 out of 6, you know, either as OC or head coach. Like that's a lot of power. for attention / ratings or whatever that means, I think that we have to root for a Rams Chiefs Super
Rams
Bowl.
Chiefs is what they want.
Or Rams. Yeah, I guess, yeah. It'd be Rams Chiefs is what they would want.
Because
Yeah,
that's the firepower. You get if San Francisco sneaks in there and ugly it up, oh boy.
I just don't want another red jersey on red jersey situation. If it were the Bengals, Niners, the last time the Bengals played was against the Niners.
Can I say
Played in the Super
something?
Bowl.
Might get me in trouble here.
You doing a podcast, man?
I prefer the Chiefs white unis
Okay.
to the cherry red or whatever.
Okay.
I got no problem with that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, that's fine.
Didn't they used to have like yellow trim in their uniforms?
Yes.
Like in a number or something, or outline of the number? I
They
know
might
it's
still-
like a third color, but they've never used it as a jersey.
I've always
or
thought it
something.
was a little unnecessary.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I'm all for whatever does not include the Niners or the Niners Chiefs specifically.
That's fair.
So you're just an aesthetics guy.
I feel
You
like
want it to look good on the
I
field.
feel like it'll look awesome if
Okay.
it's Rams Chiefs.
Man, I really like the Rams' new uniforms.
I do
I
too.
know when they came out, a lot of people
Everybody
them.
hated them when they
I
came
was like,
out.
these are kind of dumb.
I didn't think they were that bad.
Oh, the numbers fade from yellow to white. Shut up, idiots.
If you know something about a fade.
Oh yeah, if it's faded, I'm all about it. You know, I stay faded.
I feel like
Yeah.
the more I look at them,
This guy.
they are very modern, like off-white sneakerhead type culture with like the Los Angeles Rams right now, which I think that's a throwback thing actually. But then off-white look, I feel like is a very, they had Yeezy stop by when they were designing them or some shit type thing.
Mm.
Which again, I'm happy to see them. That's all my NFL talk.
Well, hold on. Was there a moment where you thought that, like, oh, this is happening? Like they're going to blow this game?
I got ready to leave the house and almost left the house whenever, let's see, they were down 14. The Rams had the ball or got the ball back. Yeah.
The snap over Stafford's head.
That's the play that I missed. Oh, no. I
You
caught
had that,
one.
and then you had the Cam Akers fumble.
The Cam Akers fumble is what I did
Dude.
miss. It was a lot.
I texted y'all during the game, but why? Like, the Bucs got so many breaks.
Mm-hmm.
The first Cam Akers fumble was like that was solely on him. And it wasn't even like no one punched it out, no one stripped.
That was
him.
the helmet one
Yeah,
where it was upside down or whatever.
that dude. I mean, just the breaks that Brady gets seemingly it's like there's some kind of voodoo shit going on. And the snap over Stafford's head. How many times has that happened this season to Stafford? You know,
And it
it's just-
happening in a
it's
moment
just
where,
weird.
like, the only moment possible where he wasn't there to like bat it, catch it, or like react to it. It's wild.
Do we know if that was on the center? Because
Yeah.
nobody else on the line moved, right?
Road game, center must have snapped it, or maybe Stafford forgot what the call was and was making an adjustment for a little too long.
Interesting.
I don't know.
Okay. Man, I feel like there was so much that we.
We get a lot of hot coaches that left in the last 4, though. So just to mention that real quick. Aside from Andy Reid, the rest of them, you got Zach Taylor ain't hot, but you got Shanahan, you've got McVay.
Florida's the
Shanahan might-
Florida's the hottest coach in the league.
Yeah.
Ooh, over Shanahan?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Shanahan's got the tattoo.
He's
though.
a man rocket.
A man rocket.
He's a man rocket. Tell me
Yeah.
I'm wrong, KJ.
I'm thinking that Brian Flores is no longer employed. Otherwise, I would have had him somewhere in my rankings. But I think you're right. McVay is really taking a dive because his hairs look the exact same for every game, for every minute of every game for the last 5 years, and I can't
Dude,
stand it.
Before-
Florida's scorching.
Before we bail, how do y'all feel as fan? You're Jags and
Look at
Cowboy
jawline,
fans.
Dave.
It's a great job. You're right. He is the hottest. How do we
fan
feel-
basis, yeah.
Do you feel that your particular team, the Jags, obviously they're in a different situation than the Cowboys, but
Mhm.
Can they compete? Looking at these 4 teams, looking at where the quarterback position is in the AFC, the AFC's stacked. It's so stacked.
Matt LaFleur at 5'10".
Oh, short king.
Yeah, I would say yes, only because I believe we do have a quarterback, even if he's not the quarterback that he's been like lauded to be. And speaking of Trevor Lawrence, it's going to be fun if we get some semblance, like if Travis Etienne is actually worth the salt. Like, again, playing without one of our potentially star players. We lost another wide receiver during the year, blah, blah, blah. I think the Jaguars can be competitive enough to be in like the Chargers' current position. maybe they miss the playoffs, but they make some entertaining games, and teams don't like chalk them up as a loss or a win immediately. That's far from my commitment that we would be in an AFC championship within the next 2 years now.
What?
I committed to that once we had Urban and Trevor Lawrence.
Urban did outkick today. I don't know if you saw.
Yes. Waiting on Gruden was the follow-up.
I don't know if I feel less. I don't feel confident, but like, I don't know if it's as much Dak as much as like just the entire scheme that we run, the offense. Kellen Moore, who I don't think will get a head coaching job. I don't feel good about it.
Need fire Joe Philbin.
Just watching these other offenses outside of San Francisco, although there is something to be said about what they do with what they have. It was a little deflating watching these quarterbacks last night and yesterday, like actually all day yesterday. Just absolutely sling it.
I'm right there with you, Dave. It was a bit disheartening.
And Tad Prescott's pretty bummed about it,
but
too.
Hey, you know what? Maybe the Niners are kind of a good football team. How about that?
They are.
Their
defense is way more legit than I thought.
Their defense is very, very, very
even though their
good.
corners are hella sus.
The boys were right there, man.
I mean,
we didn't test them, so.
Granted, the elements had a lot to do with it too, but you're playing a top 5 wide receiver and a top 2 quarterback. Like, wide receivers are going to get exposed. The Cowboys have 2 excellent wide receivers. Their DBs did not get exposed. So, scheme or otherwise, D'Amico Ryans, that defense is decent. You want to party?
Before we party, can I talk about our friends at Super Speciosa?
Please do, Dave.
Look, here's the deal. If you don't know what Kratom is, just know that Kratom helps you energize your mind and relax your body. It's an all-natural herb related to the coffee plant that has been used in Thailand for centuries. It just helps you feel good without feeling impaired. Super Speciosa has only one ingredient, pure Kratom leaf. Like here's a scenario. You're looking for a raise. You want to go ask your boss. Maybe this could help you out.
Hit that
Kratom. You need to run the extra mile. A lot of people use Kratom as a pre-workout. For beginners, we recommend the capsules because they're easy to use. Check it out. Check out the green strains. They're the most popular. 100% satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. Look, we've all tried it out. We've got some here at the office. Try Kratom now and get 20% off. Go to getsuperleaf.com/bang. That's getsuperleaf.com/bang and get 20% off with promo code BANG. That's getsuperleaf.com/bang, promo code BANG for 20% off. That's a lot of bangs.
Bang.
What's next?
We are approaching the season of Bang, by the way. But yes, go ahead.
We gonna sports party?
Yeah, let's sports party real quick, and we can throw Tad and Des into sports party. How about that?
Of course, this is the segment where we talk about sports, as we do on this podcast often. And we party.
We party though too.
Oh, you're right.
I mean, let's remember.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah. I phrased it wrong. Before we do Combat Sports Minute, can I quickly say rest in peace to Louis Anderson and Meatloaf? I'm now just going to stick to doing all of the deads.
I would do anything for love, but I won't do that.
I don't know the breakdown of it.
What is that? Like, what is it that he won't do for love? Like,
he won't squib kick it.
It's the season that we're currently in that PBR suggested. I think that's what Meatloaf is saying. I draw the line at that.
Meatloaf.
He's saying he won't start watching Euphoria.
But I won't eat ass.
Okay.
I think that's where it is. And he had to rewrite the lyrics.
But I won't eat. That's not even how he sounds.
Okay.
Dallas's own.
Combats. Yeah, I didn't know that. Thomas Jefferson High School.
That's great Meatloaf.
You are the Meatloaf guy.
I am the Meatloaf guy from TV. Are we going to party? I don't feel like y'all are here for the party.
We can't hear the party. We didn't know we were partying. Combat Sports Minute.
Hang on.
Were there
That's
fights?
a banger for sure.
Were there fights?
Yes, there were fights.
Who
Dave.
fought?
Francis Ngannou and Cyril Gane.
Dave, it's a banger for sure.
Banger for sure. Yeah, dude, we had one of the biggest heavyweight fights in years in the UFC. I don't know what kind of numbers this is going to do, but it was significant for a couple reasons, and I'll be quick. Francis Ngannou, widely regarded as like the alpha of the heavyweight division, hardest punch in the world, just shredded up. Cyril Gane had the interim championship belt. They trained together in Paris for a short time. Francis Ngannou, who's from Cameroon, used to work in the salt mines, has not been fighting that long. Now he's the heavyweight champ. everybody, he was the underdog. He was the underdog in this fight. Cyril Gahn, technical wizard. He's only been fighting for like 3 or 4 years, which is crazy. It was a tie fight, probably 2 rounds. Going into the 5th, Francis shows off his wrestling, something he hasn't done much of, if any, and he gets it done. And it's significant, again, because Dana White no-showed him to put the belt on and no-showed his press obligations after. And Francis has been very outspoken about fighter pay. I think Francis, before the pay-per-view, money comes in, Francis got a flat $600K for this, which you might be saying, well, that's really good money. It's really not. For the heavyweight champion of the UFC to make $600K, now that's before all bonuses were paid out and pay-per-view money. That's insane. I think the stat was that Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder's fight, they made like 32 times more.
Why is boxing so much farther along in popularity, or is it, to garner such ridiculous paydays in comparison to MMA?
Great question, because you have promoters. You have separate promoters in boxing, right? You got your Bob Arum camp. You got your other camp over here. It's part of the reason why boxing is so confusing and hard to follow, because there's multiple belts. And in boxing, what you do is you get a fighter you think has promise. You have him fight as many winnable fights as he can to build up an undefeated record. So you got a guy who's 20-0. Maybe you get some knockouts in there. Makes him way more marketable for a pay-per-view. And UFC, guys come up, guys lose fights. And when you lose a fight in the UFC, it doesn't mean your career's over. Or you're going to, in boxing, it kind of doesn't mean it's over, but it's harder to get back to the top.
Yeah.
So could be a decision, could be some fluke thing that you lost the fight for.
Marketability takes a huge
Exactly. UFC, I'm not going to act like I understand the ins and outs of fighter pay in UFC, but this is the number that I was looking for. The combined purse payout for a 22-athlete card, headlined by 2 championship bouts, because there was 2 title bouts. Okay. Let me read that again. The combined purse payout for a 22-athlete card headlined by 2 championship bouts totaled more than 16 times less than Tyson Fury earned, just Tyson Fury, to face Deontay Wilder.
What the hell?
So that's all the fighters on the card, and that's before performance bonuses and pay-per-views. But it's still insane.
Does that happen?
They can. They're the big dog. But Francis has said he's not going to fight again for the rest of the year.
Or he said he's not, like, his contract is ending too, right? Like, this is the end of his contract soon.
He wants to box Tyson Fury. He wants to do the Conor thing where he goes and gets a bag. Because if he fights Tyson Fury, first of all, he'll lose and he'll get pieced up. But he'll make $3 million doing it at least.
Because, for sure. But we looked this up before when we talked about it. Like, it's not that big of discrepancy in size as much as obviously the skill set and the talent is way different. I would say you also have an issue with, like, even me on the outside, where I'm not dialing into every single fight, but I like to know who's coming up on the UFC schedule. Okay, how big is this fight? And I would say quarterly, they have like what could be titled as like a potential mega fight, not a mega fight, but you know what I mean? A huge headliner, kind of like this one. And because they come up so frequently, whereas with boxing, you might get 1 a year, you might get 2 a year, I think they're able to kind of draw in more attention to those big events. Now, there are just as many boxing matches and just as many contenders out there, but they don't build up 5 to 10 a year. Whereas with UFC, they're like, well, we'll make more money having consistent medium to small size bags, keeping them lion's share of it, as opposed to promoting one person. And from what I understand, doesn't the UFC kind of hate how big Conor got? Like, they hated the outsized like amount of influence he had on the sport.
That I don't know, because Conor was
he made
so
them a lot
big
of
for
money.
that. He did.
And they sold in the midst of the Conor height. Is when like the Fertitta sell and the Reebok thing, all that happened.
Yeah, it happened at the perfect time. And I would be doing a disservice if I didn't mention the flyweight co-main event for the title. Brandon Moreno, Davison Figueiredo. Davison wins. Sick fight, went to decision. They're going to fight again. That's the 3rd time they fought. It's probably the best rivalry going in the UFC. A lot of people don't care because they're flyweights. They're fighting at 125. They're tiny boys, but they're badass, and these fights are electric. So If you can go back and watch that, highly recommend it. KJ, now there was a fight you were very interested in that you wanted me to talk about. You want to help us out here while we party?
Yeah, I believe that there was a fight in the early prelims, so not even like the ones they would put on Fox, because it was one of the rare all-male prelim and main event cards. So there are 2 early prelims that I believe were only on like ESPN Plus or whatever, wherever their prelims are nowadays. ESPN Plus featured one Vanessa Demopoulos, who won her bout via armbar, 33-year-old. Notable because she left being an exotic dancer, which she has been for 13 years, stripper for those at home who are listening slowly, to continue this fight camp and for this opportunity, basically fighting on a guaranteed $12K minimum fight. So I think there's a fair statement to be said that she probably would have made more just dancing that weekend than she did in the fight, but I think she's playing her cards right. She jumped up in Joe Rogan's arms
She
in the
did.
post-fight interview.
Joe looked really uncomfortable.
She made the most of her 10 seconds of fame, and, I'm sure they will trot her out as, like, the pole combatant next time.
She may. Is she a pole assassin?
She is not, which I realize I've got a photo of the pole assassin on my phone I need to delete.
Okay. Well,
it's not illicit. It's just
look, that's a
Twitter.
great gimmick. If she could, she can win a couple fights.
It worked for not Nicki Minaj. It worked for
Cardi B.
Cardi B. Thank you.
That's true.
Fucking embarrassing.
Okay. You want to check in on hockey?
Yeah, let's check in on hockey. Most of this will likely be expounded upon and found over on the Cold Stove podcast, hosted by Brett Merriman. But as I tend to do occasionally, how's things in hockey doing? Oh, and not great, as PK Subban's little brother in the ECHL is playing in a game. When he got in a fight, basically, he tried to engage somebody in a fight, and a guy named, what is this guy's name here? Panetta. Can't find his first name.
Leon Panetta.
Jacob Panetta. Began taunting him. So as soon as Jacob Panetta was taunting him, he was doing so by making monkey gestures in the direction of PK Subban, who's black, and his brother, also black, in his direction. So he responded by punching him in the face multiple times.
Good.
I regret the Leon Panetta joke. Didn't know that's where we were going with this, and I apologize.
Jacob Panetta was released from the team immediately following this incident. PK Subban, what I did not know, I think him and Lindsey Vonn are divorced or split. Apparently, great dude. Like, has a children's hospital named after him in Canada. I can't remember where he played for a while, but has a brother who's also a goalie in the hockey for the Sabres, actually.
Can I say that the name PK Subban is just an all-time hockey name? That's
I
a
feel like it
badass name.
I feel like it is.
All around really good guy too.
Yes.
Just donated a bunch of money to, I believe, to a children's hospital. Did you just say that?
Like almost verbatim.
Oh, I'm sorry. I missed it. I was reading it.
I thought you were
sorry.
joking.
No, I wasn't. I got caught reading a headline on
Look,
Twitter.
point is here, he's a really good guy.
That was really
Might
eerie.
be.
I'm not even making funny. I just
Worth another mention, though. He is a good guy.
And you know what? Last, Deck's brother, Tad.
Are you rocking with Tad?
I'm rocking with Tad because he's rocking with us. Tad is in a very public Twitter spat with Des Bryant, and it's a bad look for everybody. Des, Dak, and Tad. Just minimum syllables.
And they're all
What?
shocking. His names.
Des made a comment about.
It's almost February, man.
Des made a comment about Dak needs to hit up Romo to talk about like how to read defenses, and it didn't come off as like a slight against Dak. Like I think he's being honest. And then Tad had a thing like, oh yeah, because they won so many playoff games with Romo and you, and now we're going back and forth. Now his numbers out there, and Tad called him a simp, and you don't want to get called a simp by Dez, and it's just like Dak doesn't. Dak doesn't.
Dez
need
called
that.
Tad
Dez
a
called
simp.
Tad a simp. Correct. Is Tad a simpy name? Some people are saying yes. I don't know. I don't know
Dope
anybody
name
named
is
Tad.
what it is.
Tad.
Yeah, hell yeah.
I only know one, and he's the type that I feel like could chew the top of a beer can off just with his, with his mouth. Is redundant.
That's a Tad move for
Damn,
sure.
that beer can top. Chews it off, he says. All right. Well, that was
I'm
fun.
gonna sit in the penalty box.
Can we run it back?
Yes.
The thing
please.
about PK Subban is,
I'm actually adding a PK Subban note real quick.
all right, well, while we're waiting, let me talk about something that's near and dear to my heart. The Children's Hospital, the PK Subban is donated to.
Oh, wait. Can I bastardize our platform here with a plea?
Oh, here we go. Get out and vote.
'Tis the season. There are 2 seasons, in fact. One, as we've spoke about before, both acerola and ass eating. The other involves eating too.
Dylan's.
If you got some Girl Scout links, hit me up.
Oh, I got a
Because your
plug.
boy's trying to
Hey,
Ooh, what's your fave? What's your
make
fave
some
flavor?
purchases. I don't really know. Samosas, I guess.
I'm a
but
Samoa guy.
Samoas? I thought it was samosa, but yeah, Samoa.
Samosa.
The ones with
I
the
don't know.
coconut?
But chocolate's on there too.
Fuck out of here.
Apparently
that's
there's
the
some new
worst
shit.
thing you could have said.
There's like a
KJ.
French toast cookie
I'm
that's
gonna
dope
cancel
too.
you, dude.
Yeah,
What-
well, you're probably into like lemonade candy, whatever those are.
Oh, dude.
Lemon party candy.
Peanut butter one. I forgot what.
Oh,
what
those
they're called.
dosey dos. But they've got like 2 names.
What's
too.
the peanut
They're
butter
super
one?
mega dope.
I think they're dosey dos.
The,
Right?
the peanut butter one is legitimately my favorite.
They're
The
dank.
Samoa ones are real good.
No,
Agreed.
Samoas are trash. Anything with coconut belongs in a trash can.
I don't even notice the coconut. I guess I don't eat it for that part. But anyhow, what else did we talk about? Hit your boy up with a link or 2.
It's time to run it back. Of course, is the segment during which we talk about what we already talked about. You got some music for me, Dave, or are you just gonna sit there
Yeah.
like an idiot and not do anything? Okay.
Thank you, New York.
Triple down Dave in the building.
Ooh.
Yeah. Dylan stays faded.
I ate it.
All 4 games this weekend ended on the final play. That's never happened before, with the exception of every game ever played in the history of football. So that's an interesting fact you're going to take home with you. KJ Ellis, the voice of our generation.
Album out soon.
Voice of an angel as well. Dave wants Cooper Kupp to get more respect.
I don't think that's asking too much.
Aaron Donald shirtless is routinely featured in KJ's search history.
It is impressive. I looked it up.
Refs have to be throbbing or we're out. Meatloaf would do anything for love, but he wouldn't squib kick it with 13 seconds left in regulation while up 3 points.
You run a couple seconds off there.
Love had bangers for sure. PK Subban is an all-around great guy. Donated part of his salary to a children's hospital.
Damn, that's a crazy note to end
Another one
on.
you should take home with you. Yeah.
All right. Well, that was a lot of fun. We will be back Thursday where we pick the championship games.
Correct. And props.
See if KJ can make a comeback. He can't.
Don't
He started
call it
off the show
comeback.
as saying it's mathematically impossible unless we do some kind of crazy triple down.
I'm willing to be nutted up for the integrity of the show. I will accept that.
I would do anything for love.
You're not even. Have you heard the song?
Yeah, it's a banger for sure.
I feel like you've
All
only heard the
right.
Little Sweet version.
No, I love that song.
All right. We'll see
Just a
y'all.
little
We'll see you
tone down.
Thursday, 6:30.
Bye.
Bye.
I want my chips with the dip. That's all I know. I don't want my chips plain. I want my chips with the dip. So bring them dips.